It's fan service time! Hello and welcome to another figure review. Today we're gonna have a look at the Snail Shell RPG-01 Lustia figure. You know where this is going. If you like fan service and hot big boba characters, you probably heard about this one. It's not a Snail Shell release, and I'm definitely excited for it. Also, I don't really talk often and much about the box, but this one is really nicely done. Everything over here is not just painted on, but you know, you can feel it. There's a little bit of depth to it, so that's pretty cool. And also, if you're wondering, yes, I did buy the feed accessory just because I think it's freaking funny. I bought it more for the memes. I know some people really, you know, have a thing for that, but let's have a look at the figure. So, before we go any further, can you guys do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, and share this video around? Because this is most likely to get demonetized and limited view and yada yada yada. Because it's very spicy content. So thank you very much, appreciate the support. Let's get back into the review. I'm gonna show you the size of Lustia. She stands at about on her hoofs right now. We don't have the feet on, so off to the top of the head it's a little over 16, almost 16 and a half. And if we're going to the top of the horns, that goes almost up to 18 centimeters. For your inches, we are going up to 6.4 to the top of the head and almost 7 inches tall to the top of the horns. Size comparisons.
Here's Jolter, the SH Figure Arts Son Goku, Snail Shell Victoria, the second X Minase Shizue, second X also Taimanin Asagi, Figma Kasumi, Figma Hosho Marine, the SH Figure Arts 2B figure, and Darkseid.
Overall, look in detail. Obviously, this figure is insane. If you don't like fan service, this is not for you. This is for people like me who have a lot of fun with sexy figures. But this figure doesn't come without its flaws. But first and foremost, let me start off with the face sculpt. I love the demonic eyes. What I'm not personally a fan of is you have a rotating eye feature. As such, the eyes are a lot more shiny and there's a little bit of depth to it, which I don't really like. I prefer it to be just painted on, but that's neither here nor there. You know, some people would prefer this, some people would prefer that. I'm not giving the figure fault for that. I love the horns. First and foremost, the way they're molded. They're nice and curvy. They're also soft plastic, but they also painted it in some light metallic on the tips, which makes it stand out really nicely. Have some golden earrings and the hair. It's fluffy. There's a lot of strains go throughout it. It's really messy looking, and also there's some silver metallic on the tips, which once again makes it look very beautiful. It actually reminds me of a VTuber, I think like Nova Okami, if I remember correctly. Has some little bit of that look. Shout outs to her also. Then we have the elf ears and we have this pendant in the necklace, which is nicely molded in there. You know, it snuggles right in there, it doesn't move around, which I wish they would have done the same for her entire outfit. What the hell? Alright, put it back together. I'll talk about the joints in just a second. It feels tight, but you know, playing around with the figure, it can be cumbersome. What is also cumbersome is the see-through plastic. I have been holding on to it, but you know, there's nothing under there. You can see the big boba. She doesn't have nips. They kind of molded on there, but they didn't paint any detail on it, so I hope that doesn't nuke the video. But anyway, the problem with that is, as you can tell, this is not connected anywhere. As such, you can take it off, but I really would have liked to have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of connection to it, because, you know, I like this see-through plastic. Has a nice shade and also some gold on there. It really looks cool, but I'm considering maybe gluing it on, just to put a tiny bit on the nips. I don't know. As I move down to, well, first let's have a look at the armbands. I love the shading also on there, which we have for most of the outfit, you know, except for the see-through plastic. Also have the fingernails molded on there. Unfortunately, they didn't paint it, which I think would have elevated this even a lot more, but as it is, it looks really cool. As we move down to the big hips, we have some more see-through plastic, but fortunately she does have some underwear under there, which has the same kind of shading as the rest of the figure. This is just painted on though. I think there's no there's no depth to the pantsu, but then again, it's like a very tiny, small pantsu, and that's fine. And then we go down to the back where we have a little fluffy tail and the butt. I don't know how to feel about the butt. It's one of these butt molds which looks fairly decent, but I feel like they could have molded it, should have molded the legs kind of to line up with it more, because as soon as you move the leg out, you know, you just have a butt flap, and then you have a butt flap, and it doesn't look great. It is a soft plastic butt, so you can try to rotate it around and make it work, but as it is, it's not that great. As we move down to the big thighs, we do have an enormous thigh squish. I gotta love that. Down to the stockings, or like, well, boots or whatever, and on the figure as it comes out of the box, we do have the hoof. Nicely metallic, but the problem with that is it's impossible to make her stand up, really, unless you're like some kind of genius. But obviously the hoof has like very limited range of putting her down, so it's almost necessary to use the base for this one. For the articulation, it's pretty interesting, because in some parts I think it's really good, and other parts so painfully basic. So first and foremost, we do have a ball hinge that goes into another ball into the back of the head, kind of like Figma, where you move it back and forth. The hand, the hair that is in the front, does bend out of the way just a little bit, does tilt side to side very nicely because of the ball joint in the back, and you can also rotate it all the way around. I mean, it does go all the way, but obviously the hair gets in the way. If you kind of tilt it up a little bit, you get a little bit further. Then for the shoulder joints, yeah, those are just on balls, and they're nicely covered up with like a ring in there, but as such, it goes up and down, and there's like, yeah, that's the wiggle room you're getting out of that. That's it. So we're not great on that. You can also rotate it on there. I can't get a good grip because of the hair, but you can. And if you don't like that, you do have a bicep swivel, and you have a double hinged elbow, which is pretty good. And then you also have the claw hands, which are on very, very small ball hinges. Be careful with those. Up and down, and can be swiveled around. Then for the massive chest area, still get some very good motion of it. Okay, then we have the phone. Sorry about that, but get some very good motion. Amateur hour. Get some very good motion back and forth. Doesn't have any gaps. Tilting side to side is okay. And the swivel, let me see if I lift this up a little bit. I feel like it doesn't swivel all the way around. The big boba is getting in the way of the hips. Speaking of the hips, well, the torso more like. And then for the hips, you move the leg out. And this is another area where it's just like painfully basic. You have these ball joints on like a hinge, on like a peg, which goes into the crotch area, where you have a little bit of wiggle motion, but still, I mean, it does get the job done, but it doesn't look the prettiest. Moves out to the side and moves also to the back a good amount. And you can also rotate it on there, obviously. And again, you have a little bit of wiggle motion in the ball joint that's in the crotch area itself, but not really that much. But it is there, so there's some playability. We have another swivel on the thigh, double hinged knees, and the foot. I want to say hoof. The hoof is on another ball hinge, so you can bring that up and down, and you can also rotate it on the top part. And you can't pivot it like that, but if you play around it a little bit, you turn it this way, and then you turn the upper part, and then you kind of get a pivot. I'm not getting it to pivot right now. Like that. There you go. That's how you do that. Boom. Here's your accessories, and I'm actually kind of wondering about some stuff. So first and foremost, let me get this in the screen. We have some stickers. I have no idea what they're for. At first I thought that might have been something to put on the nipples to hold on to a dress, but I didn't find anything. Also have some replacement packs, which is always welcome considering how the packs on the hands are so incredibly freaking small. Then we have a book, like a Necronomicon, which looks amazing. Look at the front of it. It has like an eye with some see-through plastic. Can't really see it right now so well, but there's an eye there, and it looks great. Looks like leather. Love the mold on it. Love the paint on it. You do have a hole, so she holds on to it very nicely. You do have this little staff thing, which is mostly supposed to use for rotating the eye feature, but you know, they had a little bit of fun with it and put a face on it, so you can also use that stuff. And it's very cool because we do have also this face sculpt where we have the tongue out there, yummy, yummy, yummy. And that's how you do it. Just put it in there, move the eyes around, and there you go. Boom. Can have some cursed results. I know you're all gonna do that. I'm probably gonna do that. Then we have some hands. We have grabby hands, or more like claw hands. Really love the long fingernails, man. I wish they were painted. And we also have these hands to hold on to the book, because you have the peg in there, obviously. And then finally, we have these hands. Yeah, I don't know what she's trying to tell us, but, you know, just... Damn, roasted by an action figure. Then we have a whip, which has some wire in there. Very stiff, actually. But, I mean, cool for poses. And the paint job on there looks amazing. You have a skull, a little bit of purple sprayed on there. Nice and metallic. And then at the front, like a little bit of a hook or whatever you want to call this. Then we have shoes, which once again are beautifully, nicely painted with the gold in there. And I love the look. I love the metallic on there. So you can replace those with the hoofs. And then finally, there's the feet. Well, actually, finally, there's also like the base. Oopsies. There's a Snail Shell logo on there. It's a regular base, which has a claw. But luckily, thankfully, where did it go? We also have this piece. Well, I didn't see a hole in the back of the figure. Aha! We got the hole in the tail. The tail also rotates, by the way. Forgot to show you, but this is where you put it in. Not here. There. Anyway, I'm not gonna... Well, this is a tight fit. That's what she said. The pack seems way too long for this one. Not the greatest connection, also considering that the tail does come off because it's just packed in. What a weird choice. While we do have a connection like that, I prefer that over the claw, so I'm gonna try to play around with that and hopefully it works out. But yeah, back to the feet at hand. We do have the feet. So, I mean, really, you have the flat feet. Once again, we don't have any painted toenails. That would have been nice. Just the regular flat feet. I'm trying to keep it in the display case because it's just gonna fly all over my area. And then we have the lightly raised toe. And then what we have over here, the more raised toe. Doing some kinky stuff with that. And I don't even know what this one is. Yep. Well, I guess like all the toes are raised now. So, you know, you can play around with the feet. I don't know. I bought it because like, it was a couple of bucks and I thought it was funny. But yeah, it's feet. It's just feet, guys. Final thoughts! So, yeah, this is a fan servicey figure and it really does well when it comes to that. I love the look, I love the paint job and the design and the mold, and I have all been done very well. What I'm really torn on is the articulation. There's some parts which are really good, some parts which are not, and they really need a little bit of work on that. Like the hand joints also way too small. I have like the ball joint in the neck which disconnects, so I have to put it out and then pump it back together. You know, just to be clear, nothing breaks, but trying to switch parts around is a lot more cumbersome than it should be. And it's just really a mild issue with an overall still cool looking figure, and I think it really fits in well with like your figure arts or your figure collection. So yeah, I'm happy with this one. A lot happier than I was with the Victoria figure. This one feels a lot better. This one feels a lot tighter. I will recommend this. Obviously, if you like fan service, this is something I feel like you really should pick up or at least have a look at it. If you're not, then, you know, it's still a cool looking figure, but obviously very skimpy design, but still, I do recommend this one. That's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Lustia wants.